Support comes from the Alley Burger in North Hollywood, California. From the Alley Studio to smashed burgers, the Alley Burger is NoHo's next hit. Always free range, barley fed, and humanely raised. It's Shifted Perspective on Sociology with Cars podcast. I'm your host, Shift. Today, we're doing something a little special. I have Jimmy here on our show, and we're just going to talk about some of the behind the scenes of this season and dive into some, questions, topics of what it took to get here. So, Jimmy, welcome on board.
Thanks for having me on.
It's always a pleasure.
I'm honored. When I first met you about a year and a half ago, right?
Right.
The first thing that you said to me was, hey, I have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And you saw me doing the podcast and I had you on as a guest. And then you were intrigued by the whole podcast idea. Actually, I pitched it to you at the very beginning.
You did?
And I remember weeks later, you were like, hey, you know what? That thing that you talked about, I'm actually willing to give it a try. So why is it that you're interested in content creation, video or podcast, as a professional driver who later became a driving coach at Porsche? Why is it?
It's a great question, Jimmy. Originally, when I thought about creating a YouTube channel, I knew that I wanted to deliver something a little unique from my perspective. By no means that I expect it to be what it is today. Isn't that usually the case? But, initially, I've seen all these other YouTubers. What I've noticed was, why aren't there more professionals making videos, whether it's reviewing cars, whether it's driving, technique, and so on. So I figured maybe I can be the first, or at least one of, because I don't see too many. And then eventually I just saw in these niche spaces of automotive, there's a lot of car content out there, but we're still kind of niche. And I figured with all the experience that I've had over the years, test driving, all the sim driving, applying that on racetrack, I figured, having all these pieces of the puzzle collectively put together to make sense of it all, I want to be able to pay that forward because it took me so many years to figure that out. I figured I could do that. And that's when you met me.
Got it. This is quite unique, right? Because you were right about it. A lot of the pro drivers that I know are very frustrated by the fact that a lot of these journalists or influencers don't have any certifications when it comes to driving, yet they speak with such confidence and authority, and you have a lot of young people looking up to them. But why not more professionals, actual professionals like yourself, presenting these topics? Very peculiar.
I'd say so.
Right. And you are the first, I knew pro drivers before I met you, but you're the first one who's actually producing content. So which kudos to you. I really appreciate that and admire that.
Thank you.
Now I want to ask you, during our time working together, producing the first season, how's your experience so far? How's it going?
Wow, loaded. I think the best way to answer this is it wasn't what I expected. And what I mean by that is not in a bad way. It was more so before you, Jimmy, I had no intentions of starting a podcast. I honestly there was no desire there. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. I didn't listen to podcasts. I just thought maybe this is a niche space that isn't for me. I don't know why I thought that. I just assumed. But then after I've talking to you, you brought me on as a guest, then I co-hosted, and I was like, this is pretty intriguing. But then I'd have to thank you, Jimmy, because you showed me something new. You brought me into a new world, a new space that I thought, wow, in a way, no one has ever offered me a safe space to share this entire aspect of me as a professional. I've never had a dedicated time or even just one area to just dump all that knowledge. And as I started working with you with it, I realized, wow, not only one, it took some time to articulate my thoughts because they're just a jumbled mess up here in this dome, but it was not only putting it down in a tangible form, but how do I articulate this so that anyone could understand, enthusiasts or not? And as I started to do it more and more, you really got my brain to start turning. The gears are starting to move. And I really appreciate that because this is just another platform and another way to get myself, my most genuine self out there for someone that I could help in some way, shape, or form, professionally or not, as an enthusiast, non-enthusiast, it's intriguing to others that I've heard are not enthusiasts. So just the fact that as I started to do it, I got some more positive feedback, but it was a challenge just organizing myself to do it. But I have you to thank for this, because without you, I would have never had the opportunity.
I appreciate the kind words. So I find it very intriguing when you use the word safe space. What really I consider a safe space is really a space that is curious to what you have to say, right? Because I really didn't put in too much effort into offering my knowledge, because I mean, you know more than me in many of the things that you talk about, but it's really my curiosity that provided this space for you. And I always tell people, like, being able to articulate your thoughts, it's like having a good transmission. A lot of people have a good engine. You have a lot of horsepower and torque, but you can't put that power down. What a waste, right? So, I remember one of the highlights of us working together is the writing part.
Yes.
Those of you who don't know, we actually spend 3 hours on writing and confirming and going over all the script for each episode. And then you also spent hours at home writing that episode before you even came to my place.
Right.
And then we spent another week recording. So it's a lot of effort just going to one episode.
Definitely.
All of that is to develop a good transmission. And I see so many smart people nowadays say, oh, I want to share my knowledge, but I don't know how to share. Or that they've been saying, oh, I want to make content for years and they haven't started. I know what the problem is, because they don't have good transmission, going back to that. So I have to thank you for giving me an opportunity to work with you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Jimmy. And honestly, I think you provided this vessel, the podcast space, for me to do it. And also you have expertise for sure. And there are things that you've experienced that I haven't. And then obviously vice versa. And to be able to do this, for you having the patience to do it with me, I really felt like this was a collaborative opportunity, I think, for both of us. And as much as you say it's my show and my knowledge, you still gave me the transmission to build that and assemble it for it to work properly. And I totally resonate with people. It's like you have all this ideas, knowledge, wisdom to share, but how do you do it? How do you go about it? What's the proper way to do it that's not only concise, but other people can actually ingest that information?
Right.
Yeah.
So comparing video to podcast, how would you scale them? How would you compare them?
Like as in a difficulty?
Sure.
As an introvert, it's very difficult for me to put myself out there and to feel exposed. And I think part of the reason why people don't go to YouTube, podcasts, so on and so forth, is there's a part that you have to allow yourself to be at the mercy of other people saying things about you or critiquing you, judging you. And it develops thick skin, 100%. But what I've noticed is that after a certain point, I had to get outside of my own head, get over my own fears, and just say, you know what? At some point, this is going to help somebody. This will benefit them more than I could ever imagine. And then after each time, I've noticed people started to give me feedback, and they said, you know what? I really admire that you're doing this. I appreciate your time and effort and just your overall experience. And that told me, okay, this is on the right path. We will get trolls here and there because not everyone's going to love us, and that's fine. I'm not meant to please everybody. It's really meant to reach out to those that were like me or you, that have a curious mind or the want for knowledge.
Right. So which one's harder for you?
I would say, so initially YouTube was hard just because of that anxiety. After some time, it got easier. Then when we started the podcast, that was hard in a different way. One, sure, the recording aspects were nerve-wracking because the best way I can explain this is that I felt that I was on stage. Everything was dark around me. So as if I was on a stage with people, but I can't see the people. There's a spotlight on me. So it's very dark. I could only see myself. And it was as if I was naked on the stage. And I couldn't really comprehend why I felt that. But every episode that we recorded, I was so nervous and so anxious because this was a different dynamic of how I express myself. On video, you get used to it. You can always edit things out and whatever. Not that you can't edit here, but it was just a very different headspace. And that's something I'm going to explore into myself because I want to be able to build upon that. But I found that also the articulation and writing aspect of it, I felt like I went back to college. There was so much I had to relearn and go over and to learn for the first time how to really process this information from my head to on paper.
Right.
So the podcast has been a challenge, but what I've realized is that I like a challenge, and this opportunity presented a time and a space to grow. And so I figured anything that's worth doing is going to be hard.
Exactly. You know, speaking of being naked on stage, that seems like my fantasy. I'm just kidding.
Maybe for some.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I don't think a lot of people have actually seen our recording studio, our recording process. We actually all wear earphones.
Yes.
So you can hear your own voice. Maybe that's a part of like, oh, I'm in my head talking to myself and you're examining your own thoughts, right?
Glad you mentioned that. But I also hear my own heartbeat, which is weird.
That's something that we need to explore in the future.
Definitely.
So that being said, now you look back at all of the podcasters, you know how hard it is to have a podcast.
Yeah. I give a lot of people credit for starting something out and then sticking to it. It's the persistence.
Yeah.
It's very easy to give up.
You know, I would say there's two types of podcasts, right? One type is like roommates hanging out. Like, I mean, you've seen those like trash junk show, like junk food show podcasts where they just kind of pass the mic and just like have a 1 hour chill session.
Yeah.
Nothing intellectual, nothing professional. Okay, that's easy. Mm-hmm. But if you have something genuinely smart to share, oh, that gets really tricky.
Right.
So that's what you said about like, wow, you know, you're feeling this pressure. You're seeing how hard it is and how easy it is to give up.
Yes.
You know, there's actually a statistic. One of my friends shared with me. Most podcasts don't go beyond three episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Just 3. And this episode is actually the season finale of season 3.
Wow.
So now Sociology of Cars podcast officially has 30 episodes.
Well, I'd say that's a success.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that we always talk about, which I think that the listeners might be really interested in learning as well, is the phrase good enough.
Yes.
And think about all these influencers, right? So I never wanted to be an influencer. That's why a lot of the times I say, I want to be behind the scenes. I want to be the one providing the training, providing the equipment, and giving you guys the spotlight. I know we talk a lot of shit about influencers. It's calling them unprofessional. They're not the authority in driving. How dare they speak with such a confidence? But at the end of the day, they have a channel with 1 million subscribers. Mm-hmm. We don't.
Right.
So they're persistent. They've built this brand. Kudos to them, even though I don't like the substance of it. Mm-hmm. But that being said, you know way more. You're an actual pro. Just imagine what you can achieve if you stay in it, being consistent for 10 years and building this brand. You'll be flying. But the problem with a lot of smart people is that smart people have too many options. They're all like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. 20 years later, they're still trying different things and they still haven't built anything, haven't honed in on one thing.
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing right now. And I think also, you know, you have the horsepower, but you don't have the transmission. Building a transmission is very specialized work and you need a team for that. And us partnering up, this is a dream team for me.
I feel the same way and 100% about, you know, it's the right individuals to work with, the right transmission, the tools necessary to do it and to put that together. And you have to have the determination and thick skin. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be something that's going to interfere. Bump in the road, nothing goes to plan sometimes. You have to pivot. You have to just keep going at it. And what I've learned is that sometimes if you try really hard and try to make something work and it's not happening, you got to try something else. Because maybe that's just several ways you discover that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But eventually, you'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that you spoke a lot about your challenges. For example, the stage fright, mm-hmm. hearing your own heartbeat, also writing the script, translating your thoughts on paper. Those are the difficulties. Mm-hmm. What about your positive takeaways? What have you learned so far?
I think the positive takeaway was that I was able to do all of this trusting you wholeheartedly. I actually had no expectation of this going well, flopping. I didn't know what to expect. I just figured, you know what? Jimmy's done this already. He figured out a formula. Let's just stick to it. And honestly, I didn't know if you were right or wrong. I didn't know if this would work or not. I just said, you know what? Let me just trust Jimmy. Let me just follow the process and let's just see what happens. And here we are, end of this season.
Trusting your path.
Trusting the path and just knowing that the intuition, the feeling that I get, every time I do something, I just trust that, okay, if I make a step in the right direction or if I make a decision, it's almost like getting a green light. There's like an internal light that says this is good or a thumbs up. Like, okay, I don't have any negative feelings towards it. Let's just do it. Despite fear, despite anxiety, once I set those to the side, if I don't get any kind of clear sign that says this doesn't feel right, I just go for it, full throttle.
I love it.
Yeah.
So anything that surprised you along this journey so far?
I didn't think I would like it as much.
Interesting. So you like it?
I actually enjoy it, despite all the feelings that I've mentioned. I've noticed in myself how I've changed. Now, it isn't just in the writing or how I articulate myself. That's part of it. But outside of here in the studio, I can see myself changing and perform even more concise. And I've improved in my coaching at work. So even at Porsche, I found ways to articulate things differently to different personalities because I encounter so many different types of people. Some things you can say very simply, people will just get it. Other times might require more explanation. So I realized that they coincide with each other. So as I improve as a coach at work and instruct, I improve here in my writing and improve how I articulate myself. So it almost goes hand in hand. They all feed into each other. Same with my YouTube channel. Think on the fly, just be quick on my feet and then just go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Not many people can think so comprehensively about these life skills.
It's a lot of layers.
For a lot of people, if they hear, oh, this thing doesn't make money, they just won't do it. It's very shallow.
It is. And, that's why we were friends, Jimmy. We get along really well because we think very abstract. For me, I look at what takes time and effort to build over time. I've always been for that. Whether it's self-development, personal growth, whether it's in a professional setting with work, gaining certain skills, working with people, all of these things, there's quick and easy, isn't it? Because as quickly as it'll come, it'll go just as fast. And I've learned that, and I've been around the block a few times to know that something that, like I mentioned, worth having, you really got to put in the time to do it because at the end, it's like hiking an uphill mountain that is just 10 miles up, no flat. It's just constant up. And you're like, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? Am I almost there yet? Holy crap, what did I get myself into? But I learned to stop looking. I would zoom out so far, worry about the whole picture. Let me just look at one day at a time. Let me focus so simply. One step at a time. That's what got me there. Stop worrying about all the nonsense. Same with, I have all these things to juggle between the podcast, the YouTube channel, work, and all this stuff. Forget about it. When I'm here in the studio, all I'm worried about is this episode that we're working on.
I love that.
And I was able to tune it out. And that's what it takes. You kind of have to manage that in your own head. And I know for a lot of people, it's a skill you have to build.
Yes.
Practice.
So do you have any suggestions to those looking to start a podcast? Because as you know, that podcast is all the rage in the world right now, right? That's like, everybody who has a YouTube channel, who has a following, they always say, oh, the next plan is to have a podcast. It's kind of like the symbol of chicness now. And I would say the biggest difference, right, is 20 years ago when I was a kid, my mom said, you have to go learn how to use a camera. You have to learn how to use Premiere Pro and Photoshop because that's the next big thing. If you have a YouTube channel, that means that you have your own news station. How chic is that? How important is that? But 20 years later, it kind of lost its allure because everybody can film stuff even on their phone. Anybody can have a YouTube channel. Well, that's why podcast is like the next frontier. Because podcasts, you have to be a lot more intentional. You can film something on your phone, but chances are you're probably not going to record a podcast on your phone. This whole setup that we're using right now is $2,000.
Yeah.
So to invest in that in the first place and have a recording place, you need to really think it through.
Yes.
Right. And you have to have something really smart to share, because a lot of the videos aren't really interesting if you think about the substance part. It's just the editing is really fancy, the music is really trendy, and then the visuals are stunning. But the podcast, you have to have something smart to share. Otherwise, nobody is going to sit there listening through it for a whole hour. And I like it because it kind of filters out all the people who are not serious. It filters out the people who are clout chasing.
Exactly.
So that being said, do you have any suggestions for anybody looking to start a podcast? Let's say if they were to have something smart to say.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say intention. You have to be intentional with it. You got to know, truly, you have to believe what you want to do is for a purpose. Like it's worth doing. And like you mentioned, if you're going to do it right. Get the right equipment that you can grow into. And if you're on a budget, fine. You get what you can at the time, but eventually you'll notice audio quality or just the sheer mechanics of just the components you're working with. Sometimes the cheap stuff doesn't last. So you have to spend a little more money, get a little bit better quality. And then having vision. I think understanding, sure, we can have all the knowledge in the world, right? You said there's a lot of smart people out there, but they don't know how to put that into a place to where people can understand where they're coming from or even have a voice. They just don't know how to start or even how to go about it. So intention and then vision. So the vision aspect, I feel like it's, for me, I know for sure that I want to share this knowledge with the world. I always felt that. I've been thinking prior to my YouTube channel for 10 years. I've been premeditating wanting to start a channel. And it was just a lot of meeting the right people or having the right tools or being in the right place. But once it started, it felt right. And I knew that, you know what? I've been thinking and talking about this for so long. It's just go time. Let's just do it. So part of it is just jumping into it and knowing if this is a burning desire that you have, that you want to have a podcast, you want to share this knowledge, just do it. Like, what's there to say? Everyone could tell you a reason not to do something, right? If you have that burning and desire inside to say, I don't care what anyone says, I want to do this, then just do it. Pull the trigger. And that's why I joined with you, because I'm like, obviously in the beginning, you told me, hey, I think you should have your own podcast. I thought about it. I was like, man, I know nothing about it. But then as I sat with it, I couldn't find real tangible reasons not to.
Right.
Even though I knew nothing and I was clueless, I started as a noob. I knew that what you've presented to me and just the bit of interaction we've had, the shows that we produced together, I was like, this feels right. And that's enough. I just trusted and have faith blindly.
Also, meeting the right people.
Meeting the right people too is very important.
Right.
It's hard enough to do things by yourself. It really is a challenge, but having the right, like you mentioned, the team, that's important.
Do you have any plans for the next season? Because now we're wrapping up season 3.
Yes.
We're going into season 4. I know that you have some great plans coming.
I'm excited for the next season. I have some coworkers and friends that are also professional drivers, and I want to bring them aboard and to share their background, their journey, and also anything extra that they can share, because we all have different backgrounds. There's some pro kart racers that I work with. Definitely not my background. Pro drifters that actually competed, autocross, pro autocross competitors. So you can imagine just so many backgrounds. And I want to bring them aboard because they all entered this space very differently and very uniquely from what I have, and of all ages. So I figured, why not, again, let's find these unsung heroes from what you've always said from your earlier episodes, and let's bring them on board because they don't have a platform to really share their knowledge and their experience. It's just, if you happen to be at Porsche Experience Center, you might come across one of them. Maybe, maybe not. But then how else would you? So I want to give them a voice, and let's see where this goes. Maybe this is something they want to, it might inspire them to continue on. Or it's one and done, but as long as they're in a place to where they want to share it and this can benefit someone else. So I'm looking forward to this because obviously professional drivers come from many different backgrounds, and there are many of us that don't have a place to put that voice, just like me in the beginning. So some stuff to look forward to. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you as well. I think not only are these coworkers of yours and also the people that you know just throughout your whole professional career can really benefit because we are giving them a platform to shine.
Exactly.
Putting a spotlight on them, right? Giving them an opportunity that they wouldn't otherwise have. But also it'll benefit our listeners.
Yes.
Now they're having the access of so many pros sharing their experience. I think it's magical.
I think so too.
And, we always talk about, growing up, how learning knowledge is always a hurdle.
Yes.
People are mean to you. People charge you for a little bit of knowledge. And you face plant so many times going the wrong way because you didn't know a certain thing, a certain nuance of certain things. But now we have all these professionals literally by our viewer's side, holding hands.
There is always that kid inside of us, right? At some point, we were like, man, that's fascinating. Who do I need to know? Where do I need to go to get this knowledge? And now I'm in the place to where I envision myself and other people, or even other kids, to where I can actually share this, inspire them, give them an easier path. My path was not easy. It took me forever to accumulate what I have. And I wish there was just a more straight line path to it. But unfortunately, it's not the way it works in this automotive space. A lot of gatekeeping, lack of sharing. And so I'm here to break those walls down.
Perfect. Anything that you want to add before we bored our listeners too much?
I just want to recap. Thank you again. This has very much been an enlightening experience for me. And I'm looking forward to reaching more and more of the audience that actually is willing to listen. And I want to say thank you to those that are listening. I have no idea who you are. A lot of times I don't get any feedback. Here and there I hear from people saying that, oh yeah, I listen to this, I listen to that. I was like, oh, and I'm always like, humbled and shocked. I was like, oh, this is great. That may put a smile on my face because someone was actually listening. But there's so many of you that I have yet to meet. And I just want to extend my gratitude to all of you. So thank you for trusting in Jimmy as well, but also trusting in me as a newcomer. Now, a newcomer to Sociology of Everything, but still, I'm a new voice. I'm a new face. Whenever we do meet in person, I'm sure at some point. So thank you, everybody.
That's beautiful. So Shift, how can people reach out to you? How can people find you?
You can email me at shift@sociologyofeverything.com. And you can find me on my username, shift__Robinson. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it.
Perfect. And you can also reach out to me at jimmy@sociologyofeverything.com. We always welcome questions, feedback, anything that you want. Email us, DM us, whatever you want. Thank you so much for listening to this episode again. And thank you, Shift, for having me.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. And I hope you guys take this as a benefit. So really, look forward to seeing you next time.
I look forward to seeing your next season. So you better be prepared.
It's going to be exciting.
Wonderful. Peace out.